Why should letting agents care about Airbnb and short-term lettings? I'm joined today by Merilee Karr, who is the boss lady of the Short-Term Accommodation Association. Merilee, talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, letting agents are, of course, hearing more and more about Airbnb, but they should care because it's growing and it's something that consumers want, their customers want, and with it projected to be a £52 billion industry in the UK by 2025, it's something which it would be a shame for them to ignore.
I mean, they reckon there's about 100,000 properties under Airbnb. I mean, if you think about it, I'm assuming that includes holiday cottages in the out in the countryside, and then more short-term stuff in the towns. Is it just Airbnb, or are there bigger places that agents should be concerned about?
Well, I mean, look, I think for agents, the thing is, of course, what most people know about as the brand in the industry is Airbnb. Airbnb is a peer-to-peer platform. So if you have a property, you can post it up there and people can find it.
Is it almost like a right move for short-term lettings?
It really is. I think that's a great way of explaining it. And of course, if you're the one who is managing the properties, or you've got your owners that you're wanting to help, you probably don't want just one channel that you're putting them on, in the same way that you might not want to rely on Airbnb as your only source for people who are going to become tenants. So the industry is bigger. There are professional management companies out there, in some ways similar to agents in the lettings market. There are the platforms. Of course, there's Airbnb, there's Booking.com, Expedia, which owns the Vrbo brand. But there's also a lot more corporate and professional sites or channels as well. And I think increasingly people are looking at a mix of how they're advertising and finding the right guests for their properties.
I mean, what is the opportunity, do you feel, that letting agents are missing out on with this short-term let market?
I mean, you can probably hear from my accent, I'm originally from the US. And one of the things that I see in the lettings market here is that it's often very transactional. So someone wants to achieve something in the short term and they service that customer. Whereas in the US, very much it's a life cycle. So, you might work with a client for many, many years. And I think more and more what we see is that, an owner might let their property for a period of time. They might then need to use it a bit, and they might want to rent it out when they're not using it themselves. Then they go to sell it. And so for agents, the more that they're able to capture a client and work with them through that life cycle, I think that's a much bigger opportunity. And of course, whenever they're not in the process of selling or letting on a kind of semi-permanent basis, then there's an opportunity for short lets to be that link and that opportunity to keep the customer.
Do you think that letting agents are missing out on that marketplace and probably lose the property forever?
Potentially. I mean, it will always depend on the client and the relationship, but often they may go and, work with a company in our sector, and then, they may decide to work with someone else. And I think the more that they're able to show the value they're adding to that customer, the more that customer is more likely to come back to them.
But at the moment, we're in 2022. Do you really honestly believe that letting agents have to offer this because they put a property on the market? Anyone, they'll have hordes of people waiting for it. Why should they get into the complications of short-term lets?
I mean, look, it really depends on what the owner wants to do with their property. And when owners want to be letting it year round, then absolutely putting it on the lettings market is the right thing to do, no doubt. But many owners are planning to use it themselves. When someone buys a pied-à-terre, they don't want to put it on the long-term letting market. They want to be able to use it themselves. Similarly, with a second home, a vacation home, those types of things. So it's about understanding what that customer wants and being able to provide them the service they need.
What do you think is holding letting agents back? Is it a fear of the unknown, a lack of training, all the above?
I think it's two things. I think one is, of course, they hear sometimes about Airbnb disasters and these types of things, and that scares them. I think the other thing is really the complexity. If you want to do a 12-month AST, of course, you get the tenants in, there may be a bit of management throughout, but it's relatively simple. When you've got guests coming in and out every week, sometimes even every few days, that's of course much more complex, and you need a different setup to be able to do that.
Is that a lack of training? Are there people out there that offer courses? I know you're you're the chairperson of the Short-Term Accommodation Association. Do you offer training for agents?
So we definitely offer courses, and we offer various different sessions on how to do it, what technology's out there, operationally, etc. But I think sometimes it's also about thinking, is this really something you want to build up your own team and do? Or maybe even is it an opportunity to partner with another company?
And when you say partner, surely you're giving the business away, or are we talking about them, the day-to-day stuff like changing the sheets and cleaning? Because that's all faff, isn't it?
Well, I mean, look, a lot of people see it that way. And so therefore being able to find a company that can do that is one option. The other option is, even having a dual branded offer to your customers so that they understand, well, look, we partner with this other company, but we work together. And that way you don't lose the client.
Okay, and when we say partnering, what exactly does the other partnering firm kind of take off the day-to-day running and then just gives a kickback to the original agent then?
That is definitely one model, that kind of referral model where you pay a commission back. And certainly, my company has done that with agents in London, and there are definitely companies out there.
I mean, a letting agent's going to earn 10, 12% of the annual turnover of the rent. Are they going to earn more money by putting it through Airbnb?
I mean, look, the ability to monetize that property, I think is of course in certain seasons greater. But again, I want to come back to the point. If the property is literally available 12 months out of the year, it should be on the long let market. So this should be about capturing new clients or clients that might go dormant for a while, not about transitioning a customer from a long let model to a short let model. So it should all be incremental income, both to the agent and to the owner.
Sounds like a lot of faff, or is it?
I mean, look, it is more complex than the long-term letting market, which is why, many companies choose to partner or choose to work with someone else who can help. Because I think a lot of agents see this as, well, look, if I can do a long-term let and that's my core business, do I really want to get into this business as well? And so for me, the point is, well, you probably do, but you might not want to do it all yourself, exactly for that reason.
We're going to do some separate videos on my YouTube channel talking about the 3 mistakes that letting agents make with short-term Airbnb lets, and 3 top tips also for you, and also separate stuff about how Merilee and others can help you transition into this marketplace. So we look forward to seeing those. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you very much.